How was the flight, Chase?
Good morning. How was what?
How was the flight?
Oh, well, you might have heard how the flight was. I don't know.
Uh,
Oh, well, I will tell you, it was super cool. It was a 45-minute flight on a Black Hawk, actually. I thought I was going to be an AC-130, but it was on a Black Hawk. And I will tell you that I got sick, so it was fun. Yeah.
Sorry, not laughing at you.
45 minutes in, 45 minutes total, about 27 minutes in, I was sick, and then I was praying for ground.
oh man.
And then I had to get on another flight to Vegas in like 5 hours. And so I was like,
Oh,
oh my God. But luckily I gathered my stuff, so I was all good.
nice.
All right. Got our people starting to log in. Chase, should we just start rolling at 9:01? Give people like 30 seconds to get logged in.
Yes, I think we should.
All right. All right. So, morning, guys. How's everybody doing?
Great,
Doing good?
thanks.
Love it. So, once a month, we do what's called a module. That's where we get very specific over the next 5 days around one specific topic. And this week's topic is prospecting for buyers. So, strategies to build a pipeline full of buyers. And obviously, Chase, what do buyers, half of buyers are what? And then what do they turn into as well?
Yeah, well, half of buyers are sellers. Is that what you were thinking?
Yep.
Okay, cool. And then what do they turn into? Well, I mean, they can turn into your database and referral partners and Sphere and long-term people. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, think about a real estate business like this. Like every time you help someone buy a house, you're compounding your future business. You're getting so much face time with these people. They're learning about who you are, what your process is, all of the things that are so important in a real estate transaction. And if you do it right, that compounded pipeline turns into, I mean, that's where, you see these pros that get into what we call the flow mode, which is business just happens to them. It's because they've compounded these past clients over the years.
yeah, I mean, I haven't actively sold real estate since 2018, meaning like taking new leads and, prospecting, et cetera. But I mean, so that's what, hold on, 8 years technically. And I mean, I still have two or three referrals a month. And it's from probably 10 people. There's probably 10 people that just like they're highly influential and I've taken really good care of them and I continue to do so and they just still hit me up and probably one to two of those referrals work out every month. All I'd have to do is ramp that up. I mean, it wouldn't take much to ramp it back up and it's just a matter of where you spend your time. I'd rather spend it here with you guys.
Love it. So, day one. Day one's a good one. It is foot traffic to signed clients. So this is the open house protocol. This is what the process that we teach for really maximizing an open house. So
Yeah, and I would say no matter how many open houses you've done, whether you've done zero or, thousands, there's probably something you can take away from this. So pay attention, look for the one or two little lifts that will be, pretty big shifts in terms of your results.
love
And
it.
I
All right.
personally have done thousands of open houses. My first 5.5 years in this business was new construction, and all I did, my office was an open house effectively. So, um, we'll be talking about ways to convert there. But Let's start off with just kind of a broad overview. So the first thing is the foot traffic. The goal is to get it to a signed client, right? So let's be just super clear here. You're going to have someone walk in, you work to build rapport, then you set an appointment, and then of course that leads to the closed deal. So these open houses are lead funnels, Brent. Every person that walks through the door is a potential opportunity for you, even if they're just a neighbor, right?
Mhm.
That's where you go and build the rapport. You use some of the other tools we have, like the Mayor campaign, or the database qualifying script, is what we formally call it. But you use that to add in your database, and then you keep in touch with them. So the goal is appointments, right? That, like, it's cool to have a lot of people come through, but if you're not getting those people's name and contact info and then appointments, then it's not really working, right?
Yeah, I like what this slide says where it
Mm.
says traffic is vanity.
Yeah.
Like if you're focused on how many people showed up to your open house, which is a metric that you need to focus on. I mean, it's a lead measure for
Mm.
sure. But really the conversation is how many appointments did I get out of this open house?
Yeah. Yeah. If we took a high level on this, Brent, it'd be like, okay, if someone's like, hey, I'm holding open houses, but I'm not getting results, the first thing I'd look at is like, okay, how many open houses have you held? Great. How many people have showed up? Great. How many of those people did you get their info?
Yeah.
And then we'd say, well, how many times have you reached out? How many times you've had conversations? And we'd look at one of those metrics and find out, like, hey, if you have a lot of people showing up, but you're not getting info, then that's what we need to work on. How do you get info? So, and just remember, every person's an opportunity. Like that bottom right piece there, I can't stress that enough. Someone walks in and they have an agent. That's still an opportunity because, Brent, 80% of the people will tell you they have an agent, right?
Yeah.
Sorry, let me be clear. 80% of the people who say they have an agent don't actually have a signed agreement with an agent. And from experience, especially when I was with the builder, I would have people walk in, they're like, "Oh yeah, I have an agent." And I'd even qualify. I'd be like, "Oh, who is it?" And they're like, "Oh, it's so and so." And I'm like, "Cool, have you guys been looking at homes with him for a while?" Blah 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 blah. And then I just ignore it because the builder I worked for didn't pay me any more if I rep them or if it was an outside. But there's a point to this, okay? I promise. I couldn't tell you how many times. I mean, it's like multiple times a month, Brent, where someone would say, "Hey, do I have to use my agent?" So they would start off by walking in, say they have an agent, that I would help them out because I didn't matter to me. I get paid the same either way. And I'd help them out so much they didn't want to work with their agent anymore. They wanted to work with me. And so when you get people telling you they have an agent, like, you still need to take great care of them.
Well, I think agents, yeah, exactly. Number one, you have an obligation to take care of people, even if they have an agent to your seller, right? And through an open house or at an open house for the one you're representing if it's not your listing. But also think of it this way. Agents treat I have an agent as I am signed with an agent. And that's the wrong approach because
Yeah.
the likelihood of them signed with an agent is I mean maybe 10 to 20% of them might actually be signed. But you're treating 100% of them like they're signed. That's where people get in trouble
Oh
and lose
yeah.
opportunity.
And dead giveaway, Brent. I'm like, how'd the open house go? They're like, oh yeah, I had 10 people, but they all had agents. It's like, well, I would almost guarantee that 8 of those don't actually have an agent. So, all right. So let's talk pricing and marketing the right home. So price point, have a strategy, right? Like, this is the one of the interesting things, in coaching, we can move the marker on your income. Real estate's cool because you get paid commission, and typically it's a percentage of the sales price. So if you want to make more money on the deals you do, the higher the sales price, typically you're going to see a higher paycheck. So this is a cool opportunity, right? Like, where do you want to work? If you work a certain city and you know it really well and you live there and you don't take any open houses there, I would ask why. Like, so where do you want to sell homes? If you could wave your wand, where do you want to sell homes, and what's important about that? So figure that strategy out. Buyer heavy versus neighbor heavy traffic analysis. Like, to me, I wouldn't get super focused on this. I would just be looking at it like, how hard is it going to be to direct someone in with signs,
Exactly.
right? Like, look at the map. How hard is it going to be to direct someone in with signs? And then I would also be looking at like how many people are looking for homes like this. And you can do that through absorption rates, Brent. Basically, pull a search of similar type homes and then look at solds over the last 12 months and what's the number? If you're like, oh, one of these type of homes sells per month versus you have another open house you can sit and 50 of those sell per month. Like, you're probably going to get more traffic on the 50 per month, right? And mega open house weekends. So what's a mega open house weekend in your opinion, Brent?
Well, I think it's what it lists on the right-hand side with a few caveats is I think a mega open house needs to be a new listing. I think a mega open house needs to have a certain level of pre-marketing done prior to the open house. And then that's where the right-hand side comes in, where you have a social media countdown. You invite your sphere through email and or personal calls. You do door knocking, do personal neighbor invites. And then the sign strategy is the biggest one. A ton of signage. Like when you think of how much signage should I put out, if you're doing a mega open house, triple it. Like, you should have a lot of signs, multiple signs driving people in, multiple signs at the entrance, grabbing their attention. Just make it stand out.
Yeah, I think that's super important. I've always had a rule of thumb, like I won't hold an open house unless I double the signs. So if from a main road I can get to the house in 4 signs, I need a minimum of 8. And then I'm figuring that out. The traffic from signs is still a massive, massive, massive part of how people find you. Which, by the way, if people are finding you by signs, a lot of it's pretty random. So you should expect that someone's not actually a buyer right now or a seller right now, or you're getting neighbors. That's totally normal. And then if you know you're going to get random people, then you need to know how to handle them. So don't just register attendees, right? Like, hey, there's a sign-in sheet. Go ahead and look around, right? Collect feedback. So how do you collect feedback? You've got to build rapport. You got to be able to earn the right to ask that. Now, there are some scripting notes here. Like, if it gets really busy, someone's like, oh, it's too busy. I don't have time. Easy script here. You can go back and watch this. And Brent, I know you got some scripts for this too, but hey, thanks for attending the open house. I promised my seller I get feedback from everyone who walks through it. I'm just curious, who's your agent? So I can follow up with them for feedback. The beautiful thing about this question, and I actually learned this from Brent probably like 10 years ago. The beautiful thing about this question is if they truly have an agent, so go back to the, oh, we have an agent thing. If they truly have an agent, they're going to give you their agent's name and phone number. If they know an agent, which I would say probably 95% of the people who say, oh yeah, I have an agent, what they're really saying is I know one. But if they know one and they don't want you to actually call them, they're not going to give you their number. They're going to just say, oh, just call me. So it's an immediate way to flush out whether someone has an agent or not. You want to jump in on that, Brent?
Well, if they give you their agent's name and phone number, you're like, great, thank you so much. I'll call them to get feedback. Go ahead and have a look around. Let me know if you have any questions. If they say, well, why don't you just get the feedback directly from me? Awesome. Hey, let me walk you through the house real quick, show you a couple key things that, that my seller or that the seller wanted us to explain, and then I'll let you walk through. Basically, what you're doing is what Chase is saying at a busy open house. You're using that question as a filter mechanism with who do I want to spend my time with? And that way you're not spending your time with every single person that walks through. Now, the caveat to that is, and we'll talk about it here in a second, if it's a slow open house, you should walk everybody through it. Every single person, even if they say they have an agent, like it's worth it.
Yeah, I think you got to spend time with them and you need to practice too. It's going to help you get better. So, research property and community. Know the home, know the neighborhood, know the schools. Like, think if you were to live there, what would be important to you? That's probably the easiest way to really get this there is like, why would you want to live there? Like, even if there's things you don't like, just why would you want to live there? Now, three alternatives. This is actually really important because people are going to walk through and be like, oh, dang, I wish I had the master on the main. Oh, dang, the yard's too big. The yard's too small. The house is too small. I need an extra bedroom. This house is too big. It's too expensive. That to me, it says three alternatives here. I mean, I think that's the minimum. I
Yeah.
would think of what are the objections I might get and how can I get an appointment with someone to go show them something that meets their criteria. So they come in, they're like, oh, dang, this thing's nice, but we were looking for something that was, had a fifth bedroom. And you're like, oh, have you seen the one on 123 Main Street? And they say no. You're like, oh, well, I got some time after this. I'd love to go show it to you, right? Having that knowledge already gives them so much confidence in you. And that confidence, you're going to have confidence and they're going to have confidence in you. They're going to look at you as the expert. And I think that's massive. So,
Well, and I think you lose a lot of credibility when someone asks a question at an open house, like, "So what school district is this in?" And you're like, "You know what? Let me double check. Let me get the paper out. And let me see what the school district is."
yeah,
Like, it's okay to not have all the answers, and if you can have simple answers, school district, information about the neighborhood, listings nearby, information on the taxes, those types of things, and you know them, that's actually going to build credibility and validity.
yeah. All right, atmosphere. So this talks music, scent, and lighting. I'm going to go over lighting mostly. Don't do any foofy, crazy scents, guys. Like we used to do cookies in all of our open houses. I've done apples. Like I had a really high-end open house. I did like apples with cinnamon sprinkled on them, put them in the oven for 20 minutes. Some of that stuff can be nice. Music, be tasteful, have it be very like don't have it be overly loud. I honestly I don't think those are as big a deal. I think lighting's the biggest deal. All the lights should be on. If there is blinds, you should open them up. Tilt the light upwards. Tilt the light upwards. The brighter the ceiling is, the bigger the room feels. So that's probably one of the biggest pieces. Now, lastly, door knocking before the event. So if you want to do a mega open house, to me, this is like combining all the things, right? You pick the right open house, you make sure it's a brand new listing, you make sure or it had a massive price reduction. You've checked out all the opportunities in the area to get a feel for, how much traffic is going to be coming through. And now you go door knock. And what's your favorite script, Brent, for door knocking the neighbors?
Guys, this is magic. This script works so well. But and basic I came up with this because I hated door knocking and I hated getting up to a door and they were acting inconvenienced and they were popping their head out and like you could just tell they didn't want to talk. And I just didn't like that feeling. So I came up with this script and it works every single time. So the very first sentence, they'll still be guarded. But after the second sentence, they won't be guarded anymore. So you knock on the door, and what I do is I stand to where I stand to. So if the door opens, I stand on the side that opens. Because if you stand on the side that has the hinges, they can crack the door and peek out. If you stand on the side where the knob is, they have to open the door in order to see you. So that's step number one. Step number two, hey, just want to let you know I have an open house down the street on this day, this time. Right there, they're guarded. Then you say, just wanted to let you know, just in case you have kids or pets, there's going to be more traffic during those hours. So, just let your kids know or keep your pets inside. That's it. That's all I would say. And then I'm like, all right, have a good day. And then I would halfway turn and then I go, oh, actually, I do have one question. And then I would say, I love getting insider information about the neighborhood that I can share with prospects that are walking through this open house. Do you mind if I ask you a couple questions about what you like about the neighborhood? And then boom, I start talking about what they like, what they don't like, who they know. And what I'm trying to figure out is, do they have any motivation? Do they love the area? Do they know the neighbors? Knowing the neighbors is important because when I say, Have you heard of any rumors of anybody looking to sell? I know that they know people and they may know someone that wants to sell a home. So, and then I finish it off with, hey, by the way, when it sells, would you at all be curious about what it sells for? And if they say yes, then that's my invitation to follow up with them.
Awesome. Last thing, it says stay near the entry to intercept every visitor at the moment of arrival. Most homes you can see the entry really easily. Sometimes they have like a really long hallway and it's kind of hard. I don't care what it is. Like, even if I have to have the door wide open, I'm going to see someone walk through the door before they get in the house every time, no matter what. Don't sit down on, if you're sitting down on a couch or a chair or whatever, that's fine. Get up before they walk in. You don't want them to feel like they made you get up. Does that make sense? It seems pretty obvious, but if someone walks in and they made you get up, they're like, "Oh, it's no big deal." Like, don't make them feel like they're putting you out. It seems obvious, but I trust me, it's not. So, all right. So meeting them at the door, like greeting, right? Hi, I'm Brent, and you are. Get used to saying that, and you are. Right? Because
Well,
sometimes they'll be like,
think
"Hi,
about
Brent."
this. One of the most awkward things, and everybody's been a part of this. You walk up to an open house, the door's closed, you kind of sort of knock, and then you kind of open the door. You kind of, you're, even though it's an open house, you're like, should I be walking in? Like, everybody has this like dialogue in the back of their head. If you open the door as someone's approaching, it creates a more welcoming environment.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Even with open house signs on the front, it still feels weird opening the door. If they
Yeah.
have a screen door, like make the main door open, and that's a great way to do it. But
Yeah.
go greet them. Hi, I'm Chase, and you are. Ask them their name, and then if you are bad with names, like I can be, I always look them in the eye, and I'm like, sometimes I'll ask how they spell that. So, hi, I'm Chase, and you are Brent. Oh, nice to meet you, Brent. How do you spell that? Brent, right? Like that might be pretty obvious, but sometimes you get some names that are a little funny. But that spelling that name out really can help you remember it. Walk them through the home, like build. It's funny. It says walk through and then build rapport. Like I build rapport, walk through, build rapport, right? Those are all the same thing. What brings you out today? Oh, I'm just looking. Awesome. What are you looking for? Or have you seen anything else you've liked? Have you checked out any other open houses, right? Just get them talking and then be curious. Being curious and letting them talk naturally builds rapport.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then of course you want to discover motivation. So here's a simple way to do that. They walk in, they're like, "Oh, I hate this kitchen." Oh, that's crazy. Well, tell me more about that. Have you seen any kitchens you've liked? What's important to you about that? Right? And then motivation, one of the fastest ways to get it out is timing. Like, hey, if this had that perfect kitchen for you, ideally, when would you want to move in? And that's going to flush out everything. Another easy way to do that, Brent, is like, where do you live at now? You're going to get it. That's a motivation conversation. You're going to get into it. Right? Where do you live at? We live down the street. Oh, what's got you looking to move? That's motivation, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, identifying opportunity. I think you're doing that throughout the entire process. But one thing I want to say, though, is like closing every room, Brent. I think that's important. So they come in, they're like, "Oh, this is nice." And you're like, "Yeah, could you see yourself living in a home with a kitchen like this?" "Oh, yeah, this kitchen's perfect." Or, "No, we actually need double ovens," or whatever they're going to say. But
Mm-hmm.
everywhere you go, close the room.
I love that. Go ahead.
All right. So capturing information correctly. It says never leave with a clipboard. I mean, there could be some rare circumstances where you could do that, but I don't like clipboard at all.
Yeah.
Like, same with like a QR code or scanning in. Sometimes you can give stuff away. If you're going to have, like right now, a couple of our agents, they just finished the parade of homes. We had 2 different parade of homes that we are representing in our town here. And I mean, they had like one of them was the St. Jude Dream Home Brittany was talking about in here, which is a really cool story. If we get time, we'll share that. But they had 1,200 people come through in a weekend. So there's very little time to like do much other than like help people and answer questions. So giveaways can be massive there, or sometimes you can have registration cards or whatever. But I think when you're capturing information, we've already kind of hinted at some of these
Well,
things.
my personal preference is to have sign-in cards that you're in control of, and I keep it big, small enough to fit in your pocket, in your back pocket. So that way, when it's time, you pull that out and you're looking at your card and you're talking through it.
Yeah.
And you're making mental notes as you're walking through the home with them on things that you're going to notate on that card once they leave. So to me, it's I would rather spend the time being curious, getting to know them, having natural conversation, finding out if they're the buyer, finding out if they have an agent, finding out how they're going to pay for it, if they're motivated, and then I'm going to go for the appointment multiple times and go for the close multiple times. But ultimately, when they leave, I have this card before they leave. I'm going to collect their feedback. I'm going to collect their information, and then I'm going to write everything I remember about them on the back of that card.
Yeah, and a simple way to do that, I would have something you can take notes with. So if you're more of a technology person, like if you're using your phone, say what you're doing. Like, hey, I'm taking notes on my phone for my seller. Is that okay? And then you don't look like you're texting or like you're bored with the conversation or scrolling Instagram or something. I think you'll look more professional with like an iPad and taking notes, or one of those what are they called, Brent? The notepad thing. You know what I'm
Oh,
talking about?
yeah,
Remarkable.
remarkable.
Remarkable. Thank you
Yeah.
for whoever shared that. So I think have something a little more professional. Post open house. This is where I see all the failures, Brent,
Yep.
is the follow through. You go do all the work to get an open house lead and then you do nothing with it.
Yeah.
You want me to keep going or
No, no,
go?
no, no, no. So here's the thing. Over the next couple of days, we're gonna dig into the CRM a little bit more and the stages. So I'm gonna skip over 1 and 2. Just know that you need to do something with these leads. You need to put them in a system, which will be 1, 2, and 3. But here's the piece that I want you guys to get today: is same day call or text. Bonus points. If you send a video text the same day, the conversion of that opportunity is going to skyrocket for you. It looks something like this. Hey, what's up? This is Brent. I'm still at my open house. I just met with you guys 5 or 10 minutes ago, however long you met with them. Just wanted to send a video so you remember my face, because I know you're probably going to go see a ton of open houses today. We talked about this. We talked about this. We talked about this. And I know that these 3 things are the most important to you guys. Like I promised, I'm going to follow up with you guys on Monday to discuss more in detail. Talk to you then. It's going to look like that. That is going to change your conversion and prevent the ghosting from happening. And honestly, they do go meet a lot of people. They're not going to remember what open house you were from. They're not going to remember who you were when you call. They could have 5 agents from 5 different open houses calling them on Monday, for all we know, right?
Yeah, I think that's important. And you just reminded me of something. Through the process, I want to find a way that I can have homework for me to get to them. Like maybe you have some data on the area and they're like, gosh, this seems really overpriced. And you're like, you know what? I actually have some data I'd love to share with you. Has anyone shared with you what's happening in the market? And they're like, no, we'd love to see that, right? If there's someone that you think is more data driven, or maybe they want to know about that house. They don't have time to see it today, but they want to know about that other house, or maybe they want the CCNRs from the neighborhood. I don't really care. I'm going to give myself some sort of homework that they want me to get to them.
Yep.
Right. So no matter what, if there's any hint at them being a lead for me, I'm going to tee them up that I'm going to send them something soon, which gives you a greater likelihood of getting higher quality information, Brent, because they want your info, right? Email or phone.
Yep.
Same with those 4 or 5 different competition pieces you find. Get them digitally on a PDF in like a Google Drive or something like that, and then you can text them to them. And now you got the right phone number. You're like, oh yeah, so some agents will print flyers and say, here's a flyer. I'd say, no, 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 no. And I wouldn't even have a standing flyer either, by the way, because then they'd just take a picture of it. I'd have the flyer on my phone, and then I'd say, oh yeah, let me just text you the info on the home so you have all the data while you're looking around. What's your phone number? Super
here's an
simple
easy
way.
way to do that is if you have G Suite, Google or Gmail, create a drive folder that's 123 Main Street, your open house or whatever. In that folder, put all the relevant stuff that you're going to have as value and make it visible. Anybody with a link can view this. And then all you have to do is go and copy that link, and that's the link you text them. And you have everything in one place too. So you can look at that folder and be like, what value do I have inside of this folder? So you have to do a little pre-homework on that, but it's
So here's what I'm hearing, Brent, is holding an open house is not like, hey, can anyone go hold this open house from 11 to 1? And then you're like, yep, and you show up at 10:45, set up some signs and leave at 1:15. You can do that, and then you'll be the person that's like, I hold open houses all the time and never get any business. Guys, you've got to put in the time. So look at what we're doing. We're telling you to come up with all this stuff beforehand. We're telling you to go door knock. We're telling you to research schools, CCNRs, what's happening in the neighborhood. You should probably research what the homes are worth around the area, right? What's the sold? I'd pull the solds for the last 12 months in the neighborhood. I'd have that in that drive. Because someone's going to walk through and be like, yeah, this one sold on whatever. And you're like, oh, yeah, I had all the solds from the neighborhood. You want me to send that to you? Boom.
Yeah.
Give yourself reasons to follow up. So
you should have 6 hours invested into every 2-hour open house. So there's 2 hours for the open house. There's roughly 45 minutes to an hour of setup. There's 2 hours afterwards open for appointments. So you always have that time open. And then there's an hour of research ahead of time. That's a true open house you're putting in 8-hour days when you do an open house, even though it's a 2-hour open house.
yeah.
You have time invested in all the other things that make it successful and help you convert business. That's what these are about.
Yeah. And I'm going to read it super fast. We don't have time to jump into it. Brittany, thank you for sharing. But she said she opened an open house a week ago on Saturday. And the person came in, had a good conversation, but the guy had an agent. And she, got a reason to follow up with them. But that turned into a conversation a week later. And then they bumped into each other at another house, like presumably a similar home. But he told her that he had fired his agent because he's like, you did more work for me and you don't even work for me than my agent's done the entire time. So will you be my agent? And obviously, don't step on anyone's toes. Do all the right things. You know what those are. If you don't, talk to your broker. But you are there to serve people. Someone walks in with an agent, you still take care of them. You never know what's going to happen, right? So I know we're over on time, Brent. Anything else to round us out?
Do we want to do one or two takeaways?
Sure. What'd you hear?
Yeah, what'd you guys hear? Just remember your ahas could be something that goes, helps somebody else. Oh, Carol, if you're talking,
Victory
you're muted.
loves preparation.
What was that, David?
Sorry.
Victory loves preparation.
I love it.
Preparation,
Okay,
love
Carol,
it.
what do you got?
Carol?
I'm sorry, I don't know how to raise my hand on,
That's okay.
on iPhone.
That's all right.
But I want to ask, when someone walk and you want to follow up with them, how often for open house?
What's the question? How often are you walking them around the house?
Follow up with them.
Oh,
No, follow up.
How often do you follow up with someone at an open house?
Oh, well, so I think there's this is a layered question. It depends on how your, in my opinion, how your conversation went and how you gauge their interest. So if I have a conversation with someone and they're a neighbor and they never intend on moving, and I did what we call the database qualifying script, so I got permission to follow up with them. I'm going to follow up with them a couple times a year, and I'm going to send them emails and texts a couple times a year on top of my regular touches. But if I talk to someone and I know that they're interested in buying or selling in the next 30 days, even if they haven't selected me yet, I know they're interested in buying and selling in the next 30 days. I told them I would follow up with value. I'm going to follow up with them every day, sometimes multiple times a day, until I get an appointment with them or they tell me that they're working with someone else. I mean, I think
Okay,
you should rate your follow up with, are these people a viable opportunity that are going to buy or sell in the next 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, 12 months, and schedule your follow up accordingly. Chase, do you have any feedback on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think follow up is really about timing, which is really about motivation. But in terms of, Carol, follow up comes through the nuance of understanding how the conversation's going. But until they answer your call, a lot is the answer. Call, text, call, text, call, text. Like, a few times a day until you reach them.
Yep.
And usually I do a 3x3. So here's an easy strategy: 3 calls a day for 3 days in a row. And I do a 3x3x3. So if they don't answer after those 9 attempts in the first 3 days, then I attempt them once a week for the next 3 weeks. And then I'm usually like, I'll put them in a drip and just see if anything happens. So we got to run, Brent. Thank you guys so much for coming. Really appreciate you. And tomorrow we're going to be discussing more on getting leads to buyer conversion.
All right, guys. See you tomorrow morning.